everyone.
Welcome to
Crucial Conversations with the AA. Ta-da!
It's been a
Okay, no, it's not been a while. We're back. Like, we're back on business, man. You know what I'm saying? So today, the conversation of Kusha. Hey!
In fact,
First of all, thank you for agreeing to have this conversation, because I had to appeal. You know now, as the general that you are, you don't want to lend your voice generously. What's that? So today we are looking at, I don't even know, he has no title. The title has spoken for himself. This, well,
trend. To see I'm holding my notes. I have to write notes.
The trend. I think it's probably even dying down already, right? I mean, it's just what it is. Trends don't last for like how many days? Olodo Uprising. So interestingly, the first time I saw that word was, like it was through a friend, and reading through it, I just felt, it's probably just one of those things. I wasn't even aware that there was something like that until I came to church, and then I think pastor was saying something, and then he now mentioned Olodo Uprising. I was like, this thing meet me here too. I mean, it reminds me of an incident that I think happened where some little children were singing a particular song, and I'm like, where is that song? And he's like, it's everywhere. So I'm like, I'm just trying to say that this whole Olodo Uprising just sort of made me feel like, are you living under a rock, or are you living in this world? So I had to. Initially, I felt, let's just leave it. It's not everything you put your mouth inside. But I just felt, go and check it out and even find out what this is all about. And I did. I saw the podcast where the word came out first, quote and unquote. And then I listened to other people's analysis on that. And I had an opinion. But I feel like, to an extent, my opinion on it has sort of, should I say refined in a way. But like the opinion I had initially was that, the people that called the Olodo, right? People that labeled the Olodo, basically a celebration, like the idea of the Olodo Uprising is more like a celebration of mediocrity, lack of, solid critical thinking and all of that, stuff. But I just felt when my opinion initially was that, well, calling these people Olodo, maybe I felt like, okay, my understanding, my perception of Olodo then was more like being naive. So in my head, I'm like, these guys are not naive. They know what they are doing, right? But then when I went through the content, not content, when I went through the pro supporters of the, like, people that are in support of those that are tagged as the Olodo, right? I observed something, and that is the fact that, what is the motive for this kind of
uprising?
This kind of uprising was more like on survival, right? On the fact that the government has failed us, and then these guys are being creative about this kind of so they're basically leveraging this uprising to fend for themselves and all of that. And then I think we had a meeting, with our pastor, and then, really poured out his heart. And when he began to speak on the necessity of wisdom, I had to hold back, like, hey, calm down. Don't say these people are, you can't say they are naive. They are building system and they are making money out of it. And I felt like they're also practicing some principles, because I believe that success, no matter what yardstick we use, basically, I don't think it just, if it's sustainable, right? Like, not sustainable, if it lasts for a given period of time, I believe it's not a fluke. And why do I say so? For the people that probably have won jackpots, there's this trend that it doesn't last for more than a year sometimes. That's even if it even reach a year. So I felt like, these people, you see the way they plan, you see the things they buy, you see the places they go, you see the strategy steps they make. I felt like you can't really say these guys are Olodo. But then on the other side, when I see the motive and what they are building, more like the foundation behind what is being built, what I can perceive is it's more like a survival mode, leveraging, ignorance and ignorance of the people, or let me say the what's the word, the the resist the attitude to not settle, because the resistance is a lot, right? And just settle with, let's just stay at the surface, because going deep down there is just a lot. And then there's just this a lot of people that settle on the surface, and then there's just these few people that let's make money out of this because the opportunity came. And okay, before I say my next thought, I really want to hear, what do you think about this Olodo Uprising? Don't tell me you're going to go back to the beginning.
Let me go to my notes.
You came ready. Mr. AA Cabro, you people are gonna feel the table shake. Hold your TV very well.
Today, because I had to do some research about it.
Yeah.
To understand it. And as I read, it just occurred to me that, look, environments are created, and when they are created, there's a culture that comes with that environment. And when that culture begins to find expression, you can't really do much. You just take it as it is, that all. But if you change the environment,
yeah,
it would influence that culture and bring about another culture.
And
what is culture? Culture is a way of life of a group of people.
Okay.
In school.
Yeah.
So I look at the environment we are in Nigeria, and I will use the word from many quarters that have more influence. Let me use, for example, the biggest institutions that are supposedly in charge of making sure that things go the way they should in society.
Yeah.
There's one word we use for it.
What's that?
Speaking in parable.
Okay.
So, that
I think I'm lost in your parable.
No, that institution.
Yes. Is it government?
That institution. That institution. Compared to every other institution.
Yeah.
When we're talking about the society.
Yeah.
They have more of a stake. So now, by the actions and inactions of that institution, an environment is created. Now, if you come to the context of Nigeria,
that's by the action and inaction of the government. Don't worry, I'm saying it.
by the actions and inactions of this, an environment is created.
Okay.
And now that environment births a culture.
Better.
And that culture is what we are now seeing. So, for example, now, there are things that are clamped down on, and there are some things that are allowed to fly. There's a clamp down on people that speak up. Right?
Yeah.
But there's a free flow of people that
distract from more like people that bypass or just
people that exploit
that. Okay.
Depending on the level at which you exploit, you have a bigger pass. So how does this relate to this?
Okay.
So it relates to the context of the environment, where it's like the nonchalance of this institution makes it easy for people to now develop a culture of every man for himself. So now we are in an environment that we can literally call survival mode.
Yeah.
Right. Now, there was a research I was doing recently. It has nothing to do with Olodo Uprising, but then it was beginning to weigh Nigeria's misery index on an official scale.
Wow.
Yeah, and it has to do with inflation, unemployment, together. And then you find out that Nigeria's misery index is like very, very high. So meaning that, and there's a business side to it, right? That means there are a lot of people that are available to do work, but they don't have work to do. So that creates an environment where survival mode. So everybody has to figure out how to take care of themselves, and that is one of the arguments in support of the Olodo Uprising.
Of the Olodo Uprising,
What do you want them to do? Right? And there's a truth to it. I didn't say it is true. I said there's a truth to it, in the sense that when that environment has been created, then anything you see, you see. So you wake up and then Yahoo is trending. It's because of the environment that was created. If you wake up tomorrow and people are kidnapping one another, it's the environment you created. Now you wake up tomorrow, now people are, start opening their bodies online to get gifts from TikTok. It's the environment that created. You wake up another day, and so if you notice, this institution, like you said, government, not government, tackles things that creates environment, or sorry, intentionally creates the environment that allows a way
for
of
whatever
life
it is.
So they can create an environment that is suitable for business people. So when you come into that environment, the laws, everything, the policing, the structure, people can even register their business. I'll use an example. Okay, let me use that example. But then there are environments that be created to help businesses to thrive. Now this environment has been created to help every man for himself. So you sort yourself out. You don't really care about it. So we sort ourselves out, you sort yourself out. So with that, literally anything can pass, except it's touching their own welfare.
Okay, so I want to say something. Growing up, I think the first definition of government I got into that was in GSS 2, right? God. Was that government is, I think when the teacher came off, what I can remember was, it was like, government is you and I. So somewhere in my head, I just assumed that, yes, that's what government is. Like, it is made up of people, and then for me, it gives me this idea of, if something is wrong in government, is my fault. Like, not in terms of blame, but in terms of I ought to take responsibility about that. Good. So when I hear that government, you understand, are the ones that have created this thing, I think there's still this subconscious thing in my head that is like, I'm also part of this. Like, if this thing keeps thriving, I can't keep blaming it on a government, because the idea of government is that it is made up of people. So basically, their action or inaction before I came created an environment, but the continuation of that environment while I'm here is definitely, so I can't say before I came is my fault, but now that I'm here, I feel like there's a place of my own responsibility, especially if I'm not playing it, that is responsible for why this thing is continuing. So what I want to ask is that, when you say government, do you think to the government there's also the place of we as individuals not willing to push back on certain things that are limiting us, and just settling with what is easy to that makes it easy for us to cope in this environment, instead of actually thrive in our environment?
That's another powerful
probably
question.
Create another environment.
And so it brings me to my next point, which is the fact that when we see a failed government, in quotes, the next thing to do as individuals is, what can we do? Right? And inside the answer to that question, there are many answers. So some individuals set up a school, teach the right values. Some other people set up, a vocational training house, train people, so that they have jobs to do. Now, then image I'm also building in that direction, so that I can, expatriates come into the country, exploit our people, give them jobs to do. Build companies, manual labor, plenty of work, right? So a lot of opportunities for leveraging of these people that what they use the military index to indicate that there are a lot of people that want to work, but there's nothing for them to do, or the work is not, they can't even find good work that can pay their bills and all. So you're right, there is a part of the play, but we can only do so much. Why? Because the institutions that can make something a nationwide project. Do you understand? For example, now, recently we heard about a grant that was given to almost 2,000 business people, right? And it entered about £1 billion, right? Now, if you look at the context, we have 774 local governments. Do you understand? So that is like a huge impact on an individual, but an institution can execute and give that scale to that same order. So something that can affect 2,000 people. Literally, we have at least 100 million people that can benefit from that same thing. So the question is now, what do we now do? We continue in our efforts from where we are. And that's why as we continue to build institutions at our own scale, even though the biggest institution is not able to solve that problem, at the scale at which we can. For example, now we have an institution in this country that employs about 30,000 people, and it's like the largest employer of labor, I think, in Africa. So he is doing something, right? Then he's going into other areas to build other industries, do something. So we too, as individuals, as kingdom ambassadors, can also go and build. But we need to understand why it is happening before we can now go into what to do.
Why it's happening? What do you mean by why it's happening?
I brought the institution.
Okay, you mean like why the environment?
Why you can see things like this, and you can see more, and you can see worse. Like this is even still. Do you understand? God forbid, trends that are abroad can filter in the things you never heard of. Those multiple colors. You know what I'm talking about? If people do stuff like that and start getting popular, many people will follow suit.
Interestingly, it's something that's already with us.
So now it's like people are looking for that's why a lot of Nigerians are falling to scams. Because it's anything that can promise like some form of financial wherewithal, whatever it is, can easily gain traction.
As you just said this, I remember a video that Pastor, I mean, when I say Pastor, I mean Pastor David Ogenerobo, reviewed on his page about some secondary school students that were smoking, and they were like touching themselves in a very sensitive manner. And then he went to the comments and somebody said something like, well, this something about like at the end of the day, these people can even make it more than people that are serious. And then it was so like I don't know if I should say outrageous that like what mattered to this person was the fact that provided they make it, provided they make it, whatever it is they are doing is fine. So I feel like it just buttressed that how much this environment this survival mode environment has really influenced our culture, and then even influenced our mindset. Now, okay,
you
want to say something? Okay, so I feel like I won't say that. I don't know if I should say that I have a different opinion to what you said about to what you said about the institution, the government. Probably just my sentiments, maybe, right, about how that we are going to also build, but we need to also understand that this institution is like why this environment was here was because this thing was actually deliberately created. I mean, I remember listening to I don't know whether it's Daily Faru to me or yes, on his analysis of that, because I had to actually like find out what exactly before talking on it, right? So, and he said that he had mentioned these things since, and how that ignorance and weaponizing of poverty is why we're where we are, right?
So now, if we dig back,
I'm not done. Let me talk. Let me land. Thank you. So, what was I saying?
He said ignorance and
yes, but like I feel like my own my own ideology is I would say is for the believers, right? And also is from God's statement to Abraham, which is that to you and thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. This is my personal opinion of myself or whatever I'm doing. I'm not saying that government, like it doesn't matter what government is doing, like it really doesn't matter, government cannot stop me. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying ignore government. However, I see every single believer as the solution to wherever they find themselves, because that's the pattern we see in the gospel, right?
Say that again.
Like I see every single believer as the solution to wherever they find themselves, because if you are in Christ, you are a seed of Abraham. So if God told Abraham, through you and your seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed, I believe that an average believer is a solution to their society. And I believe that when you lay demands on that your potential, no government, no matter the resistance, can stop what God has planted in you and what He's planting through you. But there will be resistance. Now, this is why I'm saying this thing. I feel like I don't want this thing to sound somehow, but if it sounds somehow, I say it in love. I feel like the reason why there's still darkness in Nigeria is because a lot of believers have not taken their place in destiny. And what do I mean? I feel like the believers have, to a large extent, the Bible says my people perish for lack of knowledge. So let me put it this way. I feel like why this Olodo Uprising is even a thing is because it has also risen amongst the believers. Because did I say my people perish for lack of knowledge? Yes, because I feel like we have a tendency, maybe it's the doctrine we're taught. We have there's this transactional consumption mentality, where even when we deal with God, it's a thing of I'm coming to consume from God, not to partner with God. So it's like I give you this, give you that, so that I can get this and get that. So there is God's business and there is my business. So I take care of God's business and He takes care of my business. And when you read through scripture, you realize that there's nothing like your business. Like there's only God's business and your alignment to that business, because you ought to be a vessel and a tool. Now, I say this to say something. When I heard the Olodo Uprising and I wanted to ignore it, I remembered one prophet. I mean, I believe he's a true man of God, because a lot of his prophecy has come to pass. He said something about Sorosoke, how that I think it was a particular year prophecy, and that was after the whole NSAS issue happened. That was when the Sorosoke stuff, right? And
I know yet.
Yes, and then he said Nigeria is time to speak up, right? Like that was after Sorosoke. So when he said that Sorosoke, I felt like, could it be that some things that look like a trend could actually be a cry of the spirit to like awaken people that hey, you are tolerating what ought not to be, and you are living below your potential and what how you ought to live. And because of trend, the nature of trend, it's like a surge. Once that surge happens, and the attention span can't really last that long, because we're in a survival mode, even including the lights of the world, right? At the end of the day, we get to find ourselves in, we heard a cry, but we can't remember what we heard, right? I think all of this thing I'm saying to ask you, do you think that God is actually calling our attention to something? First, to awaken to our identity. Second, to take up our place as believers. And then third, to actually go and disciple the nations and show them how things ought to be. I'm sorry I'm lingering on this. And some things you even see from an African Christian parent in terms of quote and unquote potential spouse. You see that they're not even thinking about the will of God. They're thinking about, does this guy have money? He can take care of you. If somebody comes and say, oh mommy, he or daddy, he has a call of God upon him. Like, is it call we are going to eat? So could it be that it's actually because light have not been shining? That's why Olodo is uprising.
That's a real question.
I think so.
I'm enjoying this podcast like you. You know, I think I'm the one.
I feel like
I don't know who is interviewing, but I think it's the conversation. So I just get to listen more today. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
I'm liking it.
Yeah. However you understand the question, interpret
yeah,
it.
because I have to like use my AI brain to see. So where should I answer? Anyway, just kidding. So to answer,
yeah,
I think, you know, I won't start from the beginning. I'll say let's start from the why.
Yeah.
So first of all, you are right. You know, when you say because the believers are not rising,
yeah,
in the spaces and the centers, there's this book called Seven Mountain Mantle, right? And you talk about the mountain of media, mountain of family, mountain of media, family, religion,
fashion,
education, government,
yeah,
fashion,
family,
arts, family, all of that. When you look at all those mountains,
yeah,
right, you can tell the mountains that we seem to have in a way conquered, right? And the mountains where, in all of them, government is the one where we are least.
Yeah,
that's why I started with that, because the minute I saw the whole thing, I just zoomed out very well. And I was like, this is
zoom
when I zoomed out. So government is the one that has been most sidelined by a lot of believers. Doctrinally, we are not even encouraged in this part of the nation to participate.
Yeah, I think it's even lately
we are more encouraged to look unto God. Than to make our, first of all, demand take our place.
Yeah.
And then ensure that we disciple through that place. We are more of look unto God, you know, He meet all your needs, which is true.
Yeah.
But then, so there was a day I prayed so much for Nigeria, and God told me, until the saints arise. That's all. All my prayer, that was the answer. Until the saints arise. So that means there's a gap, which is what I said before. Until we identify those gaps, and then, so the question is, how do we fill it? So those that are called to the business mountain, they go there and then they launch businesses. But those that are called to go into government, where are they?
Yeah, and then it's like,
do you know why? Because even, no matter how much, have you ever seen any business person that's bigger than the government? Go and check. The government can come tomorrow and shut down the whole thing. So
he has to be, in a way, diplomatic.
You know what I'm trying to say is that the government is a non-negotiable institution for a believer. Yes. If you check through scripture, you see where people in government influence things. Look at Joseph. Joseph was the child of God. And look at what he did. In an entire land.
Was giving.
And he advised them on what to do when they get to Pharaoh's
and what
presence.
to say.
So if you look at everything, there's wisdom to being in government, and there's a place, and the largest scale of impact, right, in terms of society, is from the government.
It's from the government.
Now, if we're talking, you know, eternity and all, that's the mountain of religion where we need to disciple people into, you know,
right doctrine.
The right doctrine.
I think that's what even the Bible speak about, how that God gave apostles.
Exactly.
And like all these ministry gifts, you know, for the equipping of the saint and for the work of ministry. So it's more like we get discipled so that we can go and disciple the nation. Like, I feel like, I mean, this topic, we can't end it in one video. Well,
I've been meditating on
I expected it. First of all, your reluctance to even agree to do this topic, and then when you now finally agreed, I knew that Kavra did kaya
something unexpected.
Yeah, I knew that this was going to be full of a lot of wisdom, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much,
and thank you for encouraging me. I'm not.
Yeah, you're like.
I know the answer. So that's also, you know, speak up. You know, I mean, I know where I've been called into, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm working there.
Yeah.
So, but then we're also praying that let the people that God has given the burdens for these places also get the burden increase.
Yeah.
So that they can move.
Yeah.
You know, it's getting too much.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like I would say that for a person that is not in Christ, I personally don't see any reason why they don't, like, I don't see a valid reason why they should not be in survival mode. But a person that is in Christ, I don't see a valid reason why they should be in survival mode.
It's because it's all interlinked, because many a time, you know, when somebody is on the path of destiny, right, and the person chooses not to, there are many people connected to you.
Yeah.
So the person that meant to be in government did not take up that. So many other people who should have just been able to did not. And because of that. Okay, look at people in scripture where the church came together as one. If those disciples did not become apostles and did not take up the call, there are many people that would have been suffering. But because they came together, they organized, they created a system, and then every other person's needs was taken care of. People sold their land, houses to take care of the needs of everyone. Why? Because somebody answered the call.
Yeah. Do you know, interestingly, I didn't think that this conversation would go this direction, really. I felt like maybe if it was going to be a thing of, like, you know, generally speaking, but I just felt like the truth is the solution to this problem, it's actually the believers, especially based on when you see how, like, Jesus's method to solving the problem of the world was planting a church, was you know, leaving his spirit in the ecclesia. And interestingly, you know, I think going to church, I mean, coming to New Breed and learning about the ecclesia made me understand some of the things that I used to come across, how that insinuated that the ecclesia is actually not a religious terminology. It's actually like a political terminology. So it's more in terms of governance. But it seemed as though some of the things, you know, somehow, you know, when like you said, when the government creates an environment, you know, creates systems in place, it creates the environment, it forms the culture, and there's a way the culture can even influence our theology. Right? And I feel like, because I remember watching through Nigerian history, and I realized that for the longest time we have been surviving, and in a way it actually entered into our theology and altered our sense of our own identity
and ability to fight what looks like a giant. Not maybe to, okay, let me look on
just something.
So it's like we're looking onto God, but nobody is going to face Goliath.
Nobody's going to face something like that. Yeah, and then we're not now taking our place. And I feel like this conversation is a call, is a cry to everyone. If you're listening and you know that there are things that God has put in your heart, stop delaying on it.
The mountains are waiting.
Yes, it's waiting for you. Like, people are arise, shine, for your light has come. And the truth of that statement is that shining is your choice. Like the Bible says, the glory of God has come upon you, but you have to arise. It's your choice, and you have to shine. You know, please take your place. Take your place, and let this uprising that is building a legacy out of ignorance actually get altered completely, 360-degree overhaul, and where we build legacy from the place of light and clarity, not from the place of mediocrity, not from a place of survivor, and not from a place of distraction.
Thank you so much.
Yo!
I love that.
Yeah, I love you too.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Bye for now. Please like, share,
subscribe, and let people watch.
Please.
We love you.
I take God, beg you. Sorry, we, all of us, our family and I take God and beg you.
We love you.
Please, sorry, we love you.
And we appreciate you.
Thank
you. Bye for now.
And subscribe. Drop a comment, at least a comment, a hi, a what you learned, what do you have to say on top of this matter?
Something for donations.
Yes. Thank you.
And lend your voice to our voice.
Bye.